Now we're gonna dive into the metabolic sync, which is the term and system that we use to help people understand both their nutrition and their recovery and really how to manage and balance all of it. Right off the bat, what is the metabolism? It's the process by which your body converts what you eat and what you drink into energy. And it's all happening at the cellular level. And the thing that's really important to realize with that is that your metabolism isn't an organ or a different spot in your body. And it's either, I used to think it was this little cog that was turning fast if you had a fast metabolism, or it was turning slow if you had a slow metabolism. And really it's just how your body's working as a unit together to convert all the food, like I said, food, what you eat, what you drink into energy. That's what calories are. Calories are a unit of energy, and it's measuring that. And so you can almost think of it as your body's using this exchange currency to do different processes and functions within the body. And I like to think about it as the verb metabolize. Your body has to verb metabolize and break down all of this food so that your body can go and do what it needs. Your brain needs calories, your organs need calories. Everything that I'm doing right here, to talk, to think, to speak, to digest food, to work out, that all needs calories. And so that's something I just want to establish right at the beginning as we go through and break down in the next section, total daily energy expenditure. All right, so for TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, this is really important to understand because this is gonna give you a more comprehensive look at how the body's burning calories, not just in working out, but all 24 hours throughout the day. So when we look at BMR, basal metabolic rate, this can be anywhere from 60 to 70% of your total daily energy expenditure. Then we look at NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So non-exercise activity thermogenesis, that can be anywhere from 15 even up to 20% of the total daily energy expenditure, the amount of calories that your body's burning. Then we look at TEF. That is 10%, that's gonna be thermic effect of food. And then EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis, that can be 5, 10%. And it's really gonna be dependent on how much you're training, how hard you're training, how much you're walking, how healthy you are from a BMR standpoint, and then how much protein that you're having in these. So let me just dive into what contributes to each one of these so that you can understand everything in a more comprehensive way. All right, so there's a ton of different things that are gonna contribute to your basal metabolic rate. Let's just go down at a high level some of these. So gender, typically men are going to burn more calories than women, and a big part of that is because they have more muscle mass and they have more of a body to move. And when you're thinking about your BMR, this is really the amount of energy your body needs just to keep the lights on. If you laid on the couch, did not move your body, you still need to burn calories. Your brain needs to burn calories. Every single process in the body is utilizing calories to keep your heart pumping, your liver doing what livers do, and everything in between. So when there's more of a body to do that with, it requires more calories. When you have more muscle, it requires more energy for those muscles. Then when we go and look at genetics, that's definitely gonna play a role. Some people have genetics that are going to increase their basal metabolic rate or really have them have a higher metabolism, and that's something that you can't control, but you can definitely express those genes to be more in favor, or with poor health habits, be less in favor of those genetics. Then when we look at diet, something that is gonna be pro-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory or a high inflammation diet, that can be something that plays a role. Good digestion, poor digestion, your diet's all gonna play a role in that, and that's gonna affect how your body absorbs nutrients, breaks down food, that's all playing a role in your BMR. Age is definitely gonna play a role. As you get older, your BMR is going to lower, but keep in mind, that's not an excuse. As you get older, a lot of people also slow down, they just aren't as active. And so consider how much you have slowed down from your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, wherever you're at. When we were all 20 years old, we are also walking uphill both ways to class, playing intramural sports, playing in the gym, working out, you know, partying all day, whatever it is that you're doing. You're just so much more active than when you're 40 years old, sitting at a desk, not doing anything all day, and then maybe you do a 30-minute workout. It's gonna contribute to not being as active. Stress is gonna play a huge role. When we go and look at allostatic load, that's gonna be something that you'll see and understand. If the body goes beyond a stress capacity, it's gonna have to downregulate. If it is not getting enough stress, it's gonna regress and atrophy. Disease is gonna play a big role as well. Obviously, any disease specific to specific areas of the body, it's going to inhibit the body's ability to function as it should. And then hormones are gonna play a huge role as well, whether you're taking drugs, stress levels, a bunch of different things can impact your hormones. And hormones, along with diet, is really gonna play a role in understanding what this BMR equation is gonna be when we go and look at how to understand how much food you should be having based on your total daily energy expenditure. All right, next for NEAT, this is really where I would say a lot of people have the most opportunity to increase their total daily energy expenditure and increase their metabolic rate, and ultimately how many calories your body burns throughout the day. So the most common one's gonna be through walking, but doing things like laundry, blinking, fidgeting, me moving my hands like this, anything that is beyond you just laying in bed, laying on the couch, it takes energy to do this motion. It takes energy for me to blink. The more energy I have available to me, maybe I'm gonna talk faster, maybe I'm gonna move a little bit more. And you'll see with people that increase their calories, the body's gonna subconsciously upregulate movement. If you decrease calories, the brain, the metabolism is really smart. It's going to downregulate how much energy you expend. So anytime you're playing with calories going up and down, it's really important to keep eye on what your need is, because your body is going to override what you think you're doing. You think you're super active, then you decrease calories, and maybe you're not walking, maybe you're not doing as much of these things as quick or as often. But if you go and increase calories, boom, you're gonna see this. So earlier we were showing that could be anywhere from 15, 20%, but for a lot of people, especially when COVID happened, you saw a huge decrease in NEAT. People weren't walking to work. People weren't walking their dogs. People weren't just going out to bars and just being active. So a lot of people gained weight. Big part of that is decrease in NEAT, decrease in that 15, 20, for some people it's even 25% of their total daily energy expenditure. This is the biggest opportunity that I see, or that our coaches see when working with clients to increase their metabolic rate. All right, next we got thermic effect of food, and that's gonna be anywhere from 10, maybe 15%. And again, it's gonna be depending on how much really protein that you're having. So when we look at overall metabolic rate and the body's ability to burn more calories, it's going to be impacted by how much protein, carbs, fat your diet is made up of. And it takes the body energy to break down food, additional energy beyond if you were just standing here and didn't have food to break down. And so when we look at fats, it's gonna be anywhere from an additional 0 to 5% energy expenditure. When we look at carbohydrates, an additional 5 to 10% energy expenditure. When we look at protein, it's 10 to 20% additional energy expenditure. And then studies, they'll show if you keep calories the same, exercise the same, and the only variable is protein intake, those people see a bigger change in body composition, fat loss, and it's simply due to that protein intake and that thermic effect of food. And so this is an opportunity not only in increasing your metabolic rate, but also with this, when you have a higher protein intake, higher fiber intake as well, it's gonna lead to more satiation. So you're now expending more calories and not getting those hunger signals as much that you need more food or that you want more food. And that's something that really helps people moderate their weight and moderate their energy levels. All right, and last but not least, we have EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis. So let's say you're on a treadmill and you're working out and you just stand on that treadmill. And in 60 minutes of just standing there, you burn 80 calories. Then let's say that you're on the treadmill and you're walking, maybe 3-4 miles an hour. So walking for that hour burns 200 calories. Then you decide you want to sprint on that treadmill for an hour. And these are all 3 separate hours. Sprinting burns, we'll just say 500 calories. Again, this is going to be contingent on the size of the human, how in shape you are and whatnot. But what a lot of people will make the mistake of is they'll look at their Apple Watch, their Fitbit, and they'll say, oh, my workout burnt 500 calories. I need to work out more to burn more calories. But in showing the BMR, thermic effect of food, the NEAT, your body's burning calories, and the more efficiently you can do those in the other 23 hours, the more likely you're gonna be able to keep your metabolism high, because you can't outwork a bad diet. You can't work out 2, 3, 4 hours a day unless you're an athlete. If you're watching this and you're working out 4 hours a day, you're not an Olympic athlete, you need to pull that down a little bit. But what's happening here is this isn't 500 calories on top of 200. You're already gonna burn 80. So this is just an additional plus 120. This is just an additional, I think 300, if my math's correct. So yeah, you're burning a little bit more running, but it's not as much as you think, right? And so this is why it's really important to understand this, because you can look at this and say, oh, I had 500 calories, I can have a donut because I worked it off, but there's so much more contributing to the amount of calories that your body is burning. So it's not that you can't have that donut. You absolutely can have that donut, especially if you're doing so many other things. But I think it's just really important to remember that there's calories burnt working out, there's calories burnt just by booming your body, and there's calories burnt had you just been standing on that treadmill doing absolutely nothing. So when we get into things that impact the metabolism and increase this beyond just the hour of working out, so that an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, the rest of the day after the metabolism stays revved up and active, that's where we get into things that are going to look like weight training, hit in the right context and the right times. And so I'll wrap this up by just saying, this is definitely important, but again, it's only 5 to 10% of your total daily energy expenditure. All right, so now when we're looking at the allostatic load, this is just a fancy scientific way of saying your stress capacity. And so in my really cool chart right here, this is the amount of stress. And the way to think about this is the optimal amount of stress where your body is able to adapt. And that's really what you can think of this is not enough stress, this is too much stress. So this right here is burnout, this right here is regression, this right here is adaptation. And that's really the name of the game from a nutrition standpoint, recovery standpoint, training standpoint. When you look at those three, you want to train or have proper nutrition to cause the body to adapt, recover from that, and then keep inching forward towards whatever goal that it is that you've set. But the brain doesn't put stress into different buckets. It doesn't say, oh, this is work stress, this is life stress. We'll say that's weighted at 10%, that's weighted at 90%. No. Central nervous system takes all stress, white labels it, and that's what's contributing to how much stress that is. So internal stress would be stuff that is caused by you internally, how you eat, how you sleep, your sickness, how much you're working out, how hard you're working out, how intense that is, not only on the body, but on the nervous system and on the brain. Then you have external stresses, which is job, bills, society, relationships, life, pollution, pandemic, right? Those are all things that are also gonna contribute to your stress. Fear, depression, being sick, those are all things that your body, high inflammation, those are all things that your body has to fight. And so when we're looking at your allostatic load, if we see that, okay, you're gonna have a really busy season with work and you just had a baby. Well, what was perfect nutrition, perfect workouts, that's now gonna start to slide you over to here. You're getting closer to burnout. You're getting closer to stress that you can no longer recover from. So we got to maybe give you more food, pull you back here to help balance out what's going over here. Hopefully I don't add too many circles to do this. But then at the same time, your muscles are gonna atrophy if they don't get enough stress, right? If you don't put your body through enough stress, it's gonna become weak, you're gonna have a weakened immune system. So you gotta make sure that if you're not stressing the body enough, your muscles aren't gonna grow, they're not gonna get stronger if you're only lifting 5-pound weights. Sorry to tell you that. If you're not putting yourself in a calorie deficit, there's nothing for your body to adapt to. If you're not giving your body enough fuel, there's no reason for your body to get bigger. And so these are all things that we're taking into account from a recovery standpoint, looking at your training volume, looking at your nutrition, looking at what's going on externally, and being able to say, okay, cool, based on everything that you got going on, here's how we can modulate your training, your nutrition, everything that's going on from a recovery standpoint, your biofeedback, but understanding where you're at on this curve and trying to get you into this sweet spot is really the name of the game. All right, so then when we're looking at the autonomic nervous system, this is a really important relationship that we want to help clients understand right away, because you ultimately want to spend a minimal amount of time in this side of your nervous system and a majority of your time here. So your sympathetic nervous system is your fight, flight, or even freeze. If you look at how the brain is layered, you have your executive functioning part of your brain, you have your mammalian part of your brain, and you have your reptilian part of the brain. And so the more stressed you get, the lower into these different regions of the brain you're gonna get to. But it's also important to remember that staying in a stressed out state, whether that's high stress, chronic stress, low stress, we just went over allostatic load. So those are all contributing to your stress levels. Being in a stressed out state is gonna increase cortisol and it's gonna mobilize your body for energy. It's very catabolic, it breaks things down so that your body can use that energy. We were designed as humans where thousands of years ago, a high stress situation was an actual need to fight a tiger, actual need to fight someone in a neighboring tribe. Freezing was something that reptiles will do. If you scare an animal even, you'll see them completely freeze. Or maybe you've been in a presentation, you've just completely frozen, or someone called you out and you just freeze and lock up. That's your brain. That's happening at the brain level, causing you to lock up. Wanting to get into a fight with someone, that's your brain saying, hey, defend you. Wanting to just run, that's your brain saying, hey, defend and save yourself. So on the other side of this, parasympathetic, rest, digest, feed, breed, it's anabolic. This is the state you're in when you're relaxed, when you're sleeping, when your body is building up everything that you need to build from a muscle standpoint. It's repairing everything from all the training that you're doing, and you want to have a balance between these two. But if you think about your day, so many people spend it in a very sympathetic state. Underfeeding, sympathetic. Traffic, work stress, sympathetic. Oh my God, I gotta get that email sent out. Stress, stress, stress. Then you go and do a HIIT workout. And again, I'm not against HIIT, I'm not against any kind of intense workouts, but you gotta look at how much stress you have throughout the day. And if something is high intensity, that could even be lifting maximal effort or maximal sprinting. Those are all things that are going to just continue to cause you to live here. You want to stay in this state so that your body can recover. And it really all ends up being this relationship of pulling the bow back so you can shoot it forward. Pulling the bow back so you can shoot it forward. You can go as hard as you want. You can increase stress, and some people have a high stress capacity, some people have a low stress capacity. But if you can just only pull it back so far, it's gonna impact your ability to ultimately train hard, to go into a deficit, to sustain high levels and high times of stress. One last thing I'll add in here is this is the digestion part. Your body needs and wants to be in a parasympathetic state to have proper digestion. If you look at animals, for example, again, anytime you are throwing up or anytime you're really stressed and you're throwing up or having diarrhea, that is the digestive tract saying, let's get everything out. You're not gonna have really good, healthy digestion if you're in this sympathetic state, because you can't fight anyone or run away if you've got 2 pounds of food sitting in your stomach. So your body's gonna excrete that. So if you're throwing up when you're working out, or you finish a workout and all of a sudden you got the runs, that's what's happening right here. And so it's not to say that having digestive issues isn't attributed to different parts or food or different other things going on, but it's an important relationship to understand and remember. But if you have a high stress life, you want to create as many situations in your day, in your week, in your month that are relaxing. Massage, getting your hair done, getting your nails done, going for a walk, going barefoot in some grass and just grounding, watching the ocean, meditating, listening to relaxing music. Maybe it's playing a board game, maybe it's chilling playing video games, whatever that is, something that gets you into a state of not being hyper alert, hyper arousal is gonna allow you to rest, regest, rebuild, basically get back stronger. And this is something that athletes do a really good job of. They'll train really hard for 2-3 hours a day, then they'll sit on the couch, sleep 10 hours a day, sit on the couch, play video games, just chill. You gotta have that balance, gotta have that relationship. And so it usually takes, when we're working with clients, more focus on getting you those parasympathetic inputs, because life's gonna give you plenty of sympathetic inputs. Here's 10 signs that your metabolism is slowed down and that you are out of sync metabolically. So number 1, cold. This could be in your fingers, this could be in your toes. You're constantly cold and not able to get heat to those extremities. Bloated, internal bowel syndrome, different things, being gassy, basically just poor digestion in that area and constantly feeling like there's just a bunch of puff going on. A little bit of bloat's fine, normal, but if it's definitely excessive, then that's definitely something that you're looking at from either a digestive issue or there's some sort of food that is not processing well, and gut health is ultimately an issue. Stools, passing good stools, or constantly having diarrhea or not being able to go to the bathroom at all, that is also very tightly linked to digestion. Then sleep, not being able to stay asleep, not being able to go to sleep, not getting good sleep. That's really gonna disrupt your circadian rhythm and impact your body's ability to be in balance from a metabolic standpoint. Hair, skin, nails, if those are falling out, your hair's falling out, your skin looks really, we'll just say breaking out, acne, those can all be signs. Your skin's an organ. When that's not balanced and your body's not healthy, it's going to express that in those areas. Then you have libido, cycles. Women will lose their menstrual cycle. People lose their libidos. That's all again tied. If you're coming back to the previous section, if you're in your sympathetic, your parasympathetic is your rest, digest, feed, and breed. Breed means having sex. If your libido's down, something's off with the metabolism. Energy cycles. 1 minute you've got a ton of energy, 1 minute all of a sudden it's crashing, right? That could be looking at something like blood sugar, and having just huge waves and crashes of blood sugar is gonna contribute to you having higher cravings, more hunger, and ultimately needing to take a nap in the middle of the day at 2, 3 p.m. Constantly being sick, so your immune system's just shot, constantly inflamed, constantly having to fight off different foreign invaders from a sickness standpoint. And so if you're always sick, that's a sign that the metabolism in the body's not able to fight whatever's coming in to attacking you. And so that's something to keep an eye out for. And then easy weight gain and hard weight loss, they're tightly linked, but anytime you see someone that is struggling, that has a hard time losing weight or has a hard time and they easily gain weight, typically what you're gonna see is someone that has dieted a lot, someone that has yo-yo dieted and they've down-regulated their metabolism. But a high level of this is when you down-regulate your metabolism and your metabolism adapts to a lower calorie intake, anything above that is gonna lead to you gaining weight. This can also be tightly linked with like a hypothyroidism or some sort of hormonal issue where you just don't have a good balance of hormones, and so it becomes really easy for your body to store energy as fat. Hard weight loss could be a plateau. Again, that might be something more tied to metabolic adaptation. All right, so now let's look at 10 things you can do to improve your metabolism. And we'll just rattle through these at a high level, but number 1, more muscle. Increasing your muscle mass is gonna increase what your body is burning at rest. Muscle is more metabolically active than fat. More walking is gonna increase your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. You go for walks more, you're gonna burn more calories because your body is more active. Sleep hygiene. Finding a really good sleep routine and making sure that when you go to bed, it is dark, it is cold, your bedroom doesn't have a bunch of TVs, iPads, cell phones, laptops. The bedroom is for sleep and sex. Get a good routine of meditation, reading, boom, boom time, then go right to bed. You want to down-regulate that nervous system. Fall asleep, have good sleep hygiene. That's gonna improve metabolism. Elimination diets. Eliminate food that is inflammatory. Eliminate food that gives you issues. If gluten gives you issues, if dairy gives you issues, eliminate them, or at least remove them to see how much it impacts you, and then reintroduce them into a amount or a level that makes sense. Another one here is alcohol. Let's just come out and say it. Very few benefits from alcohol outside of the social benefits, and it's playing a huge role in impacting your sleep. It's impacting then, if your sleep's disrupted, your cravings, and eliminating high alcohol consumption is one of the best things that you can do for health at all. Hydration, making sure that you're properly hydrated, getting enough water, that's gonna help your body absorb nutrients and stay hydrated. Then we go to increasing calories. This is a big one. This is again tied to the metabolic adaptation, tied to reverse dieting. But when you increase the available energy, your metabolism is going to adapt to that. So if you reverse diet, increase your calories up, metabolism is going to go and match that to a certain point. At some point it becomes a surplus. More protein. So thermic effect of food, increasing your protein is going to increase the amount of calories burnt to process and digest that food. That's also going to help you put on more muscle and maintain muscle as well. Getting parasympathetic, I put this instead of saying reduce stress. Reduce stress is one of this, like, oh, okay, well, sweet, I've heard that, but how do I do that? Getting parasympathetic is intentionally doing activities that are going to relax you. So again, that could be like one of mine is building Legos. I'm so chill and feel so relaxed when I'm doing that, but yours could be watching a TV show. It could be going for a walk. It could be meditating. It could be playing the piano. It could be riding horses. Whatever that is, get parasympathetic and put that on your calendar. Go get a massage, go get your nails done. You heard it from me. And then, what are we here? So gut health, making sure that you are looking at foods that are high in fiber, making sure that you're not getting too much fiber, making sure that you've got a good gut health in terms of your gut microbiome and promoting that by having fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, probiotic, Greek yogurt, something like that to help really promote good gut health. And then finally, sunlight, get your vitamin D. So many people on the planet, outside of people that live in the equator in California and other places, but really vitamin D is one of those essential vitamins. It's gonna help you absorb other vitamins. It's super important for just functioning healthy cells functioning at a cellular level. So get your sun, get your vitamin D. If you got a supplement with it. Those are all things that you can do to improve your metabolism.